Oh, hello there, foodies. You caught me contemplating this foliage here. It's already the middle of October and the leaves are still green. Anyway, I've just come from the supermarket and very sad news. Today we're meant to do butternut squash soup, but would you believe it? No butternuts or pumpkins. I said to the guy, excuse me, do you have any butternuts? And he said, no, monsieur, Matt, we do not have any butternut, but in a few weeks we will have some. I said, it's okay, I'll find something else. He said, I can recommend patate douce. Patate douce, sweet potatoes. Excellent idea. This is what we've got. This is what we're going to cook. Let's get going. Okay, guys, have you washed your hands? Have you found somewhere to work? And have you got an apron on? So what have we got today? We're doing a not butternut squash soup. So it's going to be sweet potatoes. Oh, well. What do we need for this? Let's look at our kit. We've got a chopping board. We've got a ladle. We've got a wooden spoon. We need some kind of peeling things. You might need a tin opener, a measuring jug, some scales, although not essential, maybe some cup measurers, but we will need some teaspoon. And this is a half teaspoon measurer. So that's really handy. And then this is an immersion blender, but you could also use some kind of food processor too. What else? A lot of things today. We've got a large saucepan or pot for Americans. It needs to be quite large. It could be some kind of big pressure cooker or something bigger still. We've got a small saucepan. Now this has already got my stock in it. That's ready to go. And a couple bowls for veggies. We're missing something. What are we missing? We're missing a knife. How do we cut the vegetables without a knife? Well, I've got myself a little early birthday present, and it's a cool device here. This is for chopping up onions and other vegetables, and it does it without using a knife. Now there are different kinds of these, so it'll be interesting to see how that works. We'll try that out a bit later. And I do have a knife, but this is a child-friendly knife, so we'll try that out as well. Good. Right. So then what else? Let's look at our ingredients. Right. So what have we got today for ingredients? Sweet potatoes, of course, onions, garlic, olive oil. We got some salt, bit of black pepper. Now a tin of tomatoes is great. Not essential. Also coconut cream or milk you could use. But again, I'm not actually going to use it today, so we'll put that to one side, but I just wanted to show you. And some kind of spices is nice too to warm up the soup. Cinnamon or pumpkin spice if you were doing pumpkin or butternut squash soup. Today I'm actually going to use a bit of ginger and smoked paprika. Now what's missing here? What's missing is the stock. That's because I've already got it on the go. I've made some stock from chicken I'd roasted, and so perhaps I'll show you how to do that. So there might be a link in the description below for that kind of thing. Also, while I'm on the topic of description, if you've not had a look at it, you'll see the whole recipe is down there below the video. So go and have a look at that. And remember, you can pause the video anytime and check the recipe, or you can even print it out if you want. There's a PDF you can print out there too. Right, so let's get cracking. Okay, so we're going to start. First thing is weigh the vegetables to check we've got the right amount. Now, 2 onions, these are fairly medium sized. You could just use 1 large one instead, or 3 small ones, whatever size they are. Now, this recipe says 1 kilo butternut, but actually, 1, we're not doing the butternut, as we've said many times, and 2, it really doesn't matter. It's an approximate thing. So as long as it's roughly that amount, this soup will work. It's that easy. You don't have to be precise. But let's just have a look, see how heavy these sweet potatoes are. They're pretty big sweet potatoes. So one is about 434, two, gosh, they are heavy, 861, and three, 1 kilo, 200. Look at that. So let's put this one to one side. I don't think we won't use that one today. We'll try and stick to the recipe. So first thing is to peel these up. Now, doesn't really matter what kind of peeler you use. It's nice to go lengthways like that. What can I tell you about this? So this is going to be a really nice, cozy soup for these colder evenings. You could have it as a starter. You know, if you're having friends over for dinner, it might make a really nice thing to start with. Or in our family, we often have soup like this for lunch in winter. Really good if you've been outside, especially because you come in and a nice bowl of soup really warms you up. The great thing about this recipe, I'm making a mess, look at that, is that really it's a basic vegetable soup is what it is. So, you know, you could use other things to do this. The basic of vegetable soup starts with the onions. You fry up the onions, that's what we'll do in a minute. If you like garlic, add a bit of garlic or add a lot of garlic. That's the basic. And then you put in whatever other vegetable you like, and then some stock or just water. Very often vegetables, there's so much flavor in them that you don't really need to add a lot of other things. And it's just nice to keep it simple, because then you really taste the flavors that are there. So anyway, if you do try some other things, let me know what you try. Send me your recipes in the comments, or adapt it to what you want to do. Okay, brilliant. We've got all three there. Let's quickly clear up these peelings and wipe our board. All right. Should we try the clicker again? So it doesn't always work. I'm glad it did that time. Right. So we need to cut these up. Now, this kind of knife actually works really well on butternut, there we go again, on sweet potatoes. You've got to press down quite hard. But you see, you don't need a full proper knife. So that's the brilliant thing about this, because it doesn't cut your fingers. It's really good to practice with. So what I do is I just cut them lengthways like that, and then do it into big cubes like that. You see? Right. And the other two. Oh, it only did one. You see what I mean? It doesn't always work. Anyway, right, last one. I've got a friend who is a sweet potato addict. Because the thing is about these is they're called sweet potatoes because they are actually sweet. They can be easily confused with another vegetable called yams. Now, yams used a lot in African cuisine. These are more Western, and these are sweeter. The yams are not sweet, so don't get it. I mean, there are. It's easy to get it mixed up because there are sweet potatoes that are also white, but sometimes they're really brown on the outside. If they look sort of super woody, those are definitely the yams. Oh yeah, I was telling you about my friend. She loves them. She loves them so much. She has them probably 2 or 3 times a week. She calls them her sweeties. That's how much she loves them. So she probably would be happier with this soup than the butternut squash soup. Right, next we've got onion. We can cut in half like this first. Now, I find it's easier to peel it after you've cut it. Some people probably think that's doing things backwards, but you see, you get in there and it works better. Now, sometimes you get little layers there that are still nasty, so it doesn't matter, it's not bad. Just peel that one off as well. Because basically the outside of the skin is made up of layers, and as it goes out, the layers get thinner and thinner until they become peel. I'm not crying yet. The top tip. to not, you're less likely to cry if you leave the end bit on until the very end, until the last thing you're chopping, because that's the bit that makes you cry. There you go. Right, get rid of these peels. Oh, I'm getting good at this. Right, now we need to chop the onions. So we could do it with this, because actually it's just soup. But I want to show you this new toy I bought. I call it a toy. It's not a toy, okay? This is a kitchen tool, so you do have to be careful. I saw this online and I thought it was so nifty. I had to buy it and try it out. Also, the brilliant thing about it is that it's got blades in here, so don't get your fingers in there, but they come out and then they go away again. So it makes it super safe for chopping onions, and it does it much quicker than you would have done it with a knife. So it's great for beginners if you've not done too much cooking before. But I will do another video for knife skills at some point. So if you're not watching this the week it comes out, do have a look in the description below, because I will put a link to that, and I'll also put a link to this so you know where to get it. I mean, there are other models. There are similar things, or there are ones that you put the food in, and it's more like a food processor, but you pull it. Anyway, you'll see what I'm talking about in just a sec. So put it down, and it spins around, and it chops it up like that. Look at that. Sometimes there are some big bits left, but just do it again. Now you can do it straight into one of these, and then they're already contained if you're just doing a small amount, but I prefer to do it straight onto the board. Good purchase. Give it a bit of a wallop, but you've got to hold it sturdily. Anyway, it's not all that precise. I will say that, if you need some finely chopped onions, you get left with sometimes some big bits like that. But the soup, next week we're doing chili. I'll use it again then. That works really, really well. All right, okay. So I'll put that away, done with that. Now, garlic, there's a trick with garlic, and that is, it's actually really hard to peel when it's like this. The skin just goes super tight onto it. But if you get your knife or some kind of implement and you just tap it lightly like that, then it releases the peel. Now you've got to be careful not to just squash the garlic to smithereens, because that's also easily done. I've done that before. I have here somewhere a garlic press. There it is. Now you don't have to use one of these. You can just chop it, but this gets it done in a jiffy. So there we go. Next, we're good to go. We're good to get cooking. So meet me at the cooker. Okay. So first thing, we want to put this on a high heat. There we go. Now, be very careful when you're dealing with anything with an open flame or an electric hob, because things get hot and it's very easy to burn yourself if you're not taking precautions. So make sure you've got oven gloves nearby for holding things. Okay, so first thing, we're going to put in about a tablespoon now of olive oil. You don't have to measure it. It's just about that much. And as soon as that is hot, you can see when it gets hot, because it sort of starts to make some funny patterns in the pan. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. But what we're going to do is we're going to put the onion in, and it will start to sizzle. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Now you might find it easier to bring the pan to the board, or you might ask a grown-up to help you with this bit. The other thing, of course, you can do is put the onions into a bowl, and then it's just easier to put them in. Okay, so give them a little bit of a stir so they're all coated in oil. Put a lid on it, and they'll sweat a bit quicker. So if you just leave those for a few minutes like that, no more, because otherwise they'll burn, just with the lid on, and they'll begin to sweat. I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so it's been a couple minutes. We can see there, they're beginning to look good. So what's called sweating the onions. Right, at this time, we can add in the garlic. And then that can go in there. Garlic is quite sticky, so it does have a tendency to stick a bit more, and it will burn much quicker than onions. So that's why it's better to put it in a bit later. Stick a lid on that again, and we'll give that another few minutes. Okay. Oh yeah, you see what I'm talking about? It's okay, we caught it just in time. Just starting to sort of caramelize, but it's not burnt. What we can do now is put the tomato in. So I've got a tin of tomato. Really careful when you take that lid off. And that goes into there. And squiggly, bubbly, bubbly, bubbly. Now at this point, it really doesn't matter the order of things. Okay? You could put, we could have put some of the spices in with the onions. So I forgot about that. Again, this is really up to you as to how much you want to put in. What I tend to do is I try with a little bit. If I like the flavor, then next time I put a bit more, just play around with it. Salt and pepper. Plenty of salt and pepper. Well, plenty of pepper. Be careful with the salt, because once you put too much salt in, then you're in trouble. So let's just go with that's probably about a teaspoon of salt there. We'll do that for now and then see how we go. Right, next, let's get the stock that I've been heating up. That can go in too. All right, and then finally, the sweet potatoes, or whatever the veg it is you're doing. Now, be really careful at this stage, because this is hot liquid here, so it can splatter in your face. So you want to be really, really careful. It's sometimes a good idea to get a large spoon or one of these types of things and just carefully place them in. Right, there we go. So one last little stir, and then that's going to cook down. Probably you want it to be on a medium sort of heat, and it'll probably take the best part of half an hour. Okay, so this has been going for about 40 minutes actually. It took a bit longer because it was on a low. Look at that. It's bubbled down, it's gone down quite a bit, the liquid, even though it had its lid on. But you can see it's looking different. And these potatoes are starting to break apart like that. That's the perfect time. Right, so we're gonna let this just calm down. We'll put the lid back on it and let it rest for 5 minutes. Because when you blend something, you don't want it to be boiling hot. Okay, here we go. So let's give it a whirl. My whizzer's making a bit of a funny noise today. Very strange. Okay, so just a little pointer. When you're using an immersion, what this is called an immersion blender, you want to keep it below the surface. You immerse it. If you lift it up while you're whizzing, it's gonna go everywhere. So you be really careful. You know, ask a grown-up to give you a hand, and so you're slowly going around in circles like that until there are no more big lumps left. There we go. If you take the end off, that can go straight into the sink. I think it's time for a taste. A little spoon here. Be really careful when you're tasting something because it can get quite hot. That's good, but I think we can just lift it. I think it needs a little bit more salt, and And you could put some cream in at this stage. But what I'm going to do is I'll put the cream in after. And you could add in a bit of lemon juice. Lemon juice really helps to lift things. So you don't want to put too much. Just be careful. Just do a little at a time. Let's get that salt in as well, like I said. So give it another little taste. Spot on. Right, let's dish it up. Sour cream and chives. Here we go. Got a bit of cream in the middle. I'm going to put a drizzle of olive oil as well. Look at that. These lovely chives we'll put just on top like that. Look at that. I mean, could that be any more professional? Check it out, guys. Oh, look at this. We've got olive oil, bit of cream in there. Ah, oh, so good. It's so velvety and smooth, and you just taste the freshness of those vegetables. So much nicer than something you would buy in a shop. Oh, I think the great thing about things like this is that you can share them with friends and family. You know, if you made a big batch of soup like this, you could even take some to your neighbors. You know, if you know somebody who's not feeling well or something like that, make a pot of soup, take it round. That will be the best gift they've had, I promise you. So thank you guys so much for watching this week. I hope you enjoyed this really simple, easy and fun recipe. Let me know how you got on. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and save this video for later. All right, we'll see you next week. Next week, I'm doing chili con carne, and there may be a little something sweet. I've not decided yet, but there could be something to celebrate. Yeah, can't think what that might be. But anyway, okay, go for it, guys.